Pleasure to kick off our first inaugural session of Leaders in Energy Without Borders. And as Sylvia said, I direct Leaders in Energy, which is in the Washington, D.C. metro area, where we focus on connecting like-minded individuals in energy, environment, and sustainability topics. And I just want to say that Sylvia serves as our Leaders in Energy Director of Sustainable Manufacturing, and I actually met Sylvia through the Leaders in Energy LinkedIn group. I remember, Sylvia, you were posting, and I was very intrigued with your articles, and you and I met for coffee when you came from Indiana to Washington, D.C., and this in turn led to us collaborating on a number of initiatives here in the Washington, D.C. area. Where we have, I just want to mention this for our audience, that we have a Leaders in Energy YouTube channel where Sylvia, myself, and Barbara Engelhardt, who is the business director of sustainability in our group, had about a 45-minute program on the circular economy, which also involves clean energy as well as looking at our materials and resources and trying to minimize our waste streams. Just a very interesting concept. Sylvia was also very helpful in getting Leaders in Energy to become part of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Yeah, sorry, Sylvia, not quite ready yet, but that's fine. Yeah, go ahead and stay on that, because that definitely segues very nicely. And so I just wanted to mention that about Sylvia. And Adrian, too, we met through the Leaders in Energy LinkedIn group, and we've had a number of conversations on Skype, so I'm just so thrilled to have this first Google Hangout with both Sylvia and Adrian as we bring together like-minded people to really try to have an impact on policies and programs leading us to a more sustainable world. So as this slide shows, what is the mission of Leaders in Energy? We're basically trying to build a community of engaged leaders to enable and create a sustainable energy system, economy, and world. And building blocks that we're using to do this is or are to attract individuals who are passionate in terms of thinking, collaborating, and seeking solutions on our sustainability challenges. And so far, Leaders in Energy, what we've done is we're providing online platforms. We have our Leaders in Energy LinkedIn group with about 1,800 members around the world, and it's just delightful to meet people through that venue. In fact, I was just looking this morning and had someone post from Dubai, kind of a Middle Eastern approach and thinking on the issues going on there and energy, and also someone from Liechtenstein. So it's just a phenomenal group getting a lot of different perspectives, which gets into what Adrian was talking about and what we're doing here, crossing borders and building outreach to our other global citizens and neighbors. We also have our LinkedIn, our website, Leaders in Energy website, and I'll have that URL on the screen later. But we have a blog where we have been reporting on all of our wonderful events, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go on. And then we're also trying to help people connect for green jobs and business opportunities to move us towards a more regenerative economy, one that's not destroying the planet, and to provide meaningful and purposeful work for people that really want to make a difference and are sort of disenchanted and perhaps disengaged with their current jobs right now, wondering, where are we going? What are we doing? So we've really been connecting with a lot of people as well in our events, where we hold monthly meetings here in the Washington, D.C. area to convene people together. So why is this all important in terms of Leaders in Energy? And I think Adrian articulated a lot of this in terms of, and why don't we go ahead to the next slide here. I think we've heard the bad news, increasingly aware of. This is a book, Jared Diamond, where he cites 12 challenges. We heard some of these from Adrian from the Stockholm Resiliency Center, as well as Stanford University, had a Maintaining Humanity's Life Support Systems in the 21st Century, where they talked about just key issues, including the extinctions of other species and pollution, human growth and consumption patterns. I won't belabor this. I think we're quite aware of it, but that's really I think the impetus that we do need to make these changes. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. And that is on the other side of the coin. We still do have time to make key changes, and Adrian discussed what Germany was doing and how long it took them to transition and how we may need to accelerate that transition. But so I wanted to really focus on some of the positive things to transform the economy. So let's move to the next slide here. We have a range of topics that we've been focusing on, and I'll get into some of the detail on that, where it's energy, environment, sustainability. So in addition to clean energy, also looking at green infrastructure. We just had an event on that, biodiversity and community and corporate sustainability. So kind of, as Adrian mentioned, energy connects to so many other areas. What was it, the 17 key goals in terms of sustainable development. So definitely cross-cuts many different areas ranging into environment and sustainability. So on our next couple slides, I'm going to go through these just really quickly. Just a snapshot of some of the areas that we've been looking at that we want to focus on in the future. We saw the one slide that Adrian had in Nevada, I think of the Solar One facility, very large central station solar facility. Here I thought was kind of interesting. I just wanted to mention this as we transition from more fossil into renewable energy. I thought this was an interesting idea that the Martin Next Generation Hybrid Solar Plant has in Florida, where they have approximately 190,000 mirrored parabolic troughs on about 500 acres, and when the sun is not shining, power can be produced through the generation of electricity from natural gas. So just interesting 1,150 megawatt facility that they're calling an integrated solar combined cycle. So just sort of food for thought as we transition from fossil into more of a cleaner renewable energy society and system. The next one, and Adrian mentioned this as well with E.ON and how they're moving to be a distributed utility. In Europe, similarly, we're looking at things here to move us towards more microgrids, distributed energy systems where you have a variety of energy systems, your solar cells, your micro turbines, you can even have bioenergy, a variety of alternative generating options. And I think what's important about this too is we do have to be prepared for more resiliency. We are changing our climate, and while we can do as much as we can to mitigate, we also have to be prepared for the Hurricane Sandys and others, and the microgrids such as in New York, the New York University campus there, their microgrid system allowed them to keep power on during the Hurricane Sandy situation. So just something to keep in mind too. And I know we had a derecho here a couple years ago in Arlington where we lost power, and if we'd had more of a distributed system, maybe I would not have been without power for 5 days. Okay, next opportunity, energy storage. And I think E.ON is also looking at this quite a bit. I just saw an article in Fortune magazine this month. It was a very interesting ad insert called Here Today, Here Tomorrow, Storing Alternative Energy Has Come a Long Way, and are talking about batteries with brains and how this whole energy storage area is evolving quite significantly. I think only 0.34 gigawatts was installed in 2012 and 2013. It's now ranging in installation size to 6 gigawatts in 2017, and will be even more, 40 gigawatts projected in 2022. This photo here is a rendition of the Tesla Giga battery factory site in Nevada that's being developed. It's the largest ion lithium battery factory. It will be in the world to provide batteries for the lower cost Tesla electric vehicles. So just kind of exciting area. Energy efficiency, Adrienne talked about that. Increasingly, we realize how important this is. I think International Energy Agency has talked about it being a hidden fuel and really the first fuel. This is a report that came out last year, More Data, Less Energy, that talks about how increasingly we're just connected all the time, and all the energy that it takes, you know, even though we're not using our devices all the time, the network is still going, and how much energy is involved in that. And if we use best available technology, it's equivalent to like hundreds of equivalent coal-fired power plants could be saved. So just really interesting to see what the opportunities really are out there in terms of energy efficiency. Okay, the next slide is greening of fossil technologies, and I've been intrigued with this in terms of, hey, we're not going to be able to turn on a dime to convert our society tomorrow into the clean energy path. It is still going to take some time, so what can we do to green the current fossil industry? You know, we have the natural gas industry with fracking. What better chemicals can be used if we are going to have to rely on these technologies? How can we do it in a smarter way? And I know the Coal Utilization Research Council and the Electric Power Research Institute are also looking at, look, if we're going to be using coal, what are some smarter, more sophisticated ways of combusting this to allow for carbon capture or just increase performance issues? You know, what can we do to be smarter with the industry that we have right now? Okay, the next one is nuclear. I know it can be controversial, but some people have been looking at small modular nuclear systems as a way to partner with renewable energy to reduce climate emissions. Of course, the waste issue is an important one. This is a picture of some young graduate students at MIT. They did a TED Talk last year on their new concept called the Waste Annihilating Molten Salt Reactor, which greatly reduces the amount of nuclear waste. It's quite a fascinating concept. And you know, what I like about Leaders in Energy is we have so many talented people in the group, and you can get into some pretty deep silos on these energy technologies. And I communicated with one of our nuclear experts, and I said, hey, you know, what do you think about this WAMSAR design? And I'll just read here that he responded to me, I think it's a very interesting concept. He said a long time ago the U.S. worked on this reactor concept, and then it was never commercialized when a current generation of light water reactors were commercialized. I think these students are very bright and talented in developing this concept, and maybe they can pick up and commercialize the molten salt reactor. Perhaps they can bring new ideas and new energy to this project and make it into a commercial success. So again, I think this just shows the talent that can be accessed and is needed in all the generations, you know, the younger students all the way to the highly accomplished. And we actually had an event not too long ago on 4 generations in clean energy and sustainability, and how we can utilize all this talent in our workforce. This was kind of a fun idea, sort of whimsical. I thought I would just bring it in here. This is clothing where it actually has built-in solar cells. It's offered by a company called Ecoterre, and the designer, Pauline Van Dogen, says that as a fashion designer working in field of technology, sees the importance of an interdisciplinary approach. And So she has a smart garment augmented with solar cells, and maybe this is the ultimate in distributed energy where your own clothes are producing power. This shirt contains up to 48 flexible solar cells, enough to restore a smartphone charge by 50% after an hour exposure in a full sun. So you can eat your lunch and charge your cell phone at the same time. Anyhow, I thought it was just kind of interesting and thinking outside of the box in terms of energy. And the next slide is we're also interested in sustainable manufacturing, how we can green our supply chains, use processes that are non-polluting, and conserve energy, natural resources, and are economically sound and safe for employees, communities, and consumers. So that's something we like to also consider in our topics in Leaders in Energy. The next slide is on green jobs, and I was just looking over some information on this last night in preparing for this presentation today, and I saw one report for 2015 that in the United States tallies 1.2 million green jobs in the United States, with California topping the list, followed by Texas and New York. And I guess the point I want to make on this that I thought was interesting, and Sylvia, you might be aware of this as well, the federal government Bureau of Labor Statistics at one point was collecting data on green jobs in the United States, and they stopped collecting this information several years ago. And the author, where I was looking at some of this information, was just kind of making a point that, hey, the government is collecting data on such categories as performing arts and spectator sports. That's one of the categories they collect data on. So it shouldn't be that difficult to collect information on clean energy and green jobs. And, you know, when you really want to make changes, they say it is helpful to make measurements to really see where you are and where you're going. So I think it would have a good baseline on clean energy jobs, particularly as we try to grow the economy in this area. And then finally, just on these different big ideas, I bring this up because I really do admire E.O. Wilson, who is an evolutionary biologist who teaches at Harvard University. And he just has this really big vision and big idea called Half Earth, and I don't know if any of our viewers will have heard about this, and it may seem a bit extreme, but it does make you think, where he's suggesting that we return half of the Earth back to other species. You know, he's very concerned about, you know, how we are in the Anthropocene era, and we may, you know, we need to stave off a mass extinction crisis. So he proposes having half of the planet as permanently protected areas for the 10 other million species here on Earth, and he calls this Half Earth. I just thought it was an interesting concept, and here in the United States, I know we've been talking about developing a wildlife corridor running from the Yukon in Alaska to Yellowstone in the Wyoming-Montana area. So just intrigued with these big ideas. You know, it's always good to have these big ideas. They may seem half crazy, but you never know. We do need these Apollo moonshots and you know, similar big ideas where we think out you know, beyond ourselves and to greater goals. Okay, so after having just mentioned all of these different topics and how we're open to all kinds of energy systems as we move towards a more sustainable energy system, economy, and world. Just a little bit about Leaders in Energy, that basically started as LinkedIn group at the end of 2012, where I invited 25 members, and that it really seemed to resonate, you know, as a coalition of the willing, as Adrian mentioned, just gaining momentum, meeting such wonderful people as Sylvia, Adrian, have a team that you can see on our Leaders in Energy website with many, many volunteers as we connect with people of similar liked minds who are really want to make a difference and are concerned about our society. So we've grown. You know, 2013 we were kind of meeting happy hours face to face. 2014 we became more structured, having events with speakers. I actually became a business in 2015. So Leaders in Energy is a business now. We're also filing paperwork to become a nonprofit. So just putting more of the formal structures and mechanisms in place to allow us to do more in the future. Currently, over 1,800 members around the world in the LinkedIn group, and an additional 1,200 or so in the Washington metropolitan area. Just an example of some of the activities that we've had. We focused on bioeconomy, renewable fuels, green jobs, sustainable manufacturing. We've had a wonderful clean energy and sustainability extravaganza at George Washington University, where we had about 10 professors from all their different programs: law, engineering, economics, innovation and entrepreneurship, talking about their programs. In addition to their operations facility managers, you know, they're not only talking about the research and the policy and the education, but also what they're doing on the ground at the university in terms of recycling and signing contracts so they have more renewable energy coming into the university. So very, very interesting, and we're going to be replicating that at George Mason University in Arlington in February of this year. So just really multifaceted programs. We had extreme weather and measures to improve the resiliency of the grid. Just a lot of different topics that we have been focusing on. Kind of hard to see this, but just so amazed, really, as we put this slide together a couple months ago. Just looking at all the organizations we've co-hosted with on our programs and all the speakers we've had, and it's kind of like, wow, hey, we've really done a lot here. So it's just been really impressive as we have been gaining momentum in terms of building this coalition of the willing. And then the final slides here, just in summary, how we're connecting thought leaders around the world. This forum today is a beautiful example where we're reaching out to, you know, Adrian in Norway and Europe, and how we hope to expand this in the future to build a global community of professionals, bringing people together to transform ideas from thought leaders all around the world, and, you know, enabling our members to also pursue their professional and business development objectives while also making a difference in the world. And then finally, here's our website for those that are further interested in learning more about Leaders in Energy. We have a wonderful blog that's been reporting on our work. And then the final slide has the URL to the website. Or I guess there's one more slide after this, thanking everyone, that you can go to. Sylvia, again, thank you for your attention. Please do join us. Do become part of building these coalitions for the willing to help make these critical changes that we really need, and to connect with Sylvia, Adrian, and all the members of our wonderful team. Thank you so much.
Bravo.
Thank you. You are still awake.
Very nice. Yes, I am awake. I really enjoyed that too. Very, very nice. Very, very good. Yeah.
Thank you, Janine, for another passionate presentation of what you are doing of our group's work. I would just like to make a little clarification about our role and our collaboration with Ellen MacArthur Foundation. We belong to their circular economy network map that is managed by the foundation. So there is no misunderstanding about our collaboration. Obviously, we are very proud to belong to their map, and that allows us to continue our work on the circular economy.